DC system, which means the battery system. And the two are independent between each other. For instance, if you want to turn on the air conditioners and you have AC, but you don't have any DC, they won't go on because the thermostats are controlled by the DC. And vice versa. You can have the 12 volts on, but you don't have the AC, air conditioners won't work. You also have in the AC, you have 120 volts electricity, that's right what we have right here. And you have 240 volts electricity. And 240 volts is for the big thing. It's for the compressor, the vacuum, and the heaters, not for the outlets, not here. Here's 120. So we have right there to begin with 3 different types of electricity to play with: 120, 240, and 12 volts DC. Now, the 12 volts DC system, there are 2 separate systems. There's one for the vehicle, and we'll see this when we go out to the van. There's one for the vehicle. That's for the engine, the lights, the running gear. So the vehicle can run. Then there is the auxiliary 12 volt DC system, which is what the van operates on. Your interior lights, your water pump, your thermostat, your control circuits are all DC. Run off batteries. Now, batteries are wonderful things. You just hook them up, you get electricity out. But batteries have to have electricity going back into them. And this is where we usually get in trouble. The vans are not plugged in at night to charge the batteries, or somebody left something on and the batteries are discharged. Then you get a situation, they say call it a dead battery. Actually, it's not dead. It's just nothing in it. It's discharged. So, one of the important things that we will be setting up here very shortly, as soon as we get electrical outlet outside, is a battery charging cord. That's what this is. Regular extension cord goes to a wall outlet, and this plugs into what's called a landline. The landline on a vehicle is a big, heavy cable. The demo van takes a lot of electricity, because the regular demo office take a lot of electricity. So this lightweight cord adapts to what we call the landline power supply. Landline power supply, when they're using full load of the vehicle, is either plugged into the generator or plugged into the building. And if you're going to be going to sites repetitively, say you go to another sushi facility, for instance, or some kind of community outreach building, you will want to put an outlet in there. The reason being, gasoline costs $3 plus a gallon, and you burn a gallon and a quarter an hour on the generator. So if you can plug in the building, it makes it worthwhile. Now, obviously, if you're going someplace, you're just going to be there for 2 days, you use the generator. But if you're going someplace repetitively, I urge you to get a landline receptacle plugged in for just economy's sake. And that is covered on your tech bulletin number 1. Do you have tech bulletin number 1 there? Oops, I didn't get it.
I need to get more copies.
Yeah, here it is. I got to take over number 1. Okay. This one. The one with electrical plug on.
Let me go get more copies.
Okay.
Do you have more? You have more copies?
If we look at the illustration on tech culture number 1, that is a 50 amp receptacle, 120 to 240 volts. And you see that across the 2 main receptacles we get 240, and then neutral on each side we get 120. That's a little bit complicated, but this is what makes the van work. This is the same plug that you'll find on a big electric stove. You go to Home Depot and buy a big electric stove, nice 4-burner stove, electric oven, all that. You'll have this plug on it. And we use that because it is very commonly available. Electricians understand it, and it's not special. It's off the shelf. The receptacles cost $8 a piece at Home Depot. In Canada, they cost $20, but that's different. Okay, so the point is that we're taking a lot of electricity to run the van. And we want to make sure that when you plug in, that the plug is in tight. Make sure, of course, you don't touch the brass contacts because you'll get a nasty shock. And plug in carefully. Now, the van people who are going to be setting up the van, the first time that you go to a site, say you called up an electrician and they say, we're going to put a plug in for you at Sam Jackson Elementary School. The first time you go there, please put a voltmeter on it and check it.
Excuse me, Ken. I just realized something important because we don't have our driver done ready yet. So actually we try to record everything you say here, but I'm not sure your voice can be recorded in this volume. So do you need a microphone or something?
You want to play back to see what's coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably the volume is too low.
Okay.
It is too low?
Yeah, let me see.
Do you like to?
I think we can record the voice.
You sure?
Yeah.
Very clear. It's very.
Oh, microphone?
Yeah.
Do you want to rewind and see if it is recording?
Yes, rewind and listen to it.
Yeah. We have to rewind to see
I'll speak to the back.
We have to check.
Speak to the back.
Let me get the microphone. 对啊。这个是那个是要重新那个，要换一片式。
电视有没有办法大概就要讲话？现在应该听得到。